A few years ago, if you searched Yemi Ayodeji, my name, on Google, anywhere online, you will find nothing about me. And that's just because I was an ordinary girl full of potentials with all these gifts and talents, but I was hidden. Nobody knew anything about me, anything about what I could offer, anything about my value, except for my few close friends and family members who knew the value that I contributed into their lives and what I could do for them. And that in any way was not helping me. And if you look around you, you would notice that the things that you see and enjoy was created by ordinary people like you and I who did extraordinary things, and that's the result that we see. It brought value to them and it brought value to you and I. That's what I'm talking about when I say that you need to move from being an ordinary person to someone who is doing extraordinary things. It's the extraordinary things that you do and express that makes you an extraordinary person. So in today's video, I want to talk about the mindset shifts that happened to me that helped me to move from thinking like an ordinary person to thinking and acting and becoming an extraordinary person. Like I said, I'm still on my journey of becoming. I am getting there. I am a lot more closer than I was a few years ago. Now, if you searched my name online, you'd realize that you would see videos from me, YouTube videos from me. You will see blog posts that I've written for myself and for other people. You would also realize that I've written an ebook that has helped a lot of women. No doubt there are reviews about it. I've written an ebook in the space of time, right? So I'm very impressed with who I have become in the past few years. And I know that that is possible for you as well. I know you want to be an extraordinary person because of the things that it brings for you. You want to be someone whose name, when your name is said somewhere, you want your name to bring so much value to you. You want your name to bring you to the table and even make you create a table for others as well. You want that kind of value for yourself. You also want to be able to afford more than your basic needs. You want to be able to afford the things that you desire. It's your value that will bring you that. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the mindset shift that you need to have so that you can become someone who is doing extraordinary things, not just for yourself, but for other people as well. So the first thing I would say is to be a producer and not just a consumer. I know it sounds a bit complex. It sounds like, a theory or something like that, if I do say so myself. But it sounds a bit complex, but it's not that complex. Basically, what it means is that you're not just consuming things from others, but you see yourself as someone who can contribute. You see yourself as someone who can produce value as well, and you act on it, right? And I heard this term in 2019 as well. I heard this term from a YouTuber. I used to consume a lot of YouTube content. From the moment I moved from Nigeria to China. When I was in Nigeria, I couldn't afford that much data to watch and consume a lot of YouTube content, right? But when I moved to China, I had unlimited resources in terms of data, so I could watch as many YouTube videos that I wanted, and I was consuming YouTube heavily, reading a lot of things. I mean, the things that I was consuming were not necessarily bad things. I was watching a lot of vlogs. I was watching a lot of TED Talks. I was watching a lot of things that could improve my life, that would improve the quality of my life. I was watching a lot of those things because I just moved to a new country. I didn't know how to live abroad. I didn't know how to live outside of my home country. So I was consuming a lot of good content, but sometimes I also consume a lot of things that were not necessarily good for me, but I also found some value in them, right? In the long run. But what I'm trying to say in essence is that I was consuming and consuming and consuming a whole lot. And one day in one of those YouTube videos, a lady said that this year, she said one of the goals she had for that year was to be a producer as well, that she's tired of consuming. She also wanted to be a producer of some sort. And it just struck a chord with me because along that time as well, I was also growing in my relationship with God, and I was heavy on that scripture in Matthew that said, you are the light of the world. And if the light of the world is like dim, if the salt has lost its taste, how would it, produce? How would it give taste to others? How would it give value to others? I was heavy on that scripture, and the scripture just became alive in me that I am the light. Like I could give so much to the world. And I was really praying about it. Like, God, how can I shine my my light. I don't want to hide this light under a bushel anymore. I wanted to give light to everybody as much as it's illuminating me on the inside. I wanted to give light to others, not just for my close friends and family. I wanted to be in the light. And, a lot could be said about that part, but those two things came at the same time. And I knew that that was my time. That was the time for me to, get out there and shine my light. Like I said, I had to do a lot of, work on myself. I like to look within those resources, those gifts, those talents, those potentials that I had. How would I bring it to life? And that was when I decided that I was going to start a YouTube channel. And upon starting a YouTube channel, I was just 6 months into my channel. I had not even gotten 1,000 subscribers. I was, reached out, and a blog post reached out to me to start writing for them. I had never written anything in that capacity, aside from my final year project. I had not written anything in that capacity. They just saw my YouTube videos. By the way, the company is Dazzling Insight. You should check out their blog. It's very good. Okay, so I had not written anything in that capacity, and they called me just from looking at my videos, and I started to write from there for them. And from that point, I realized that I could do something in this capacity. All I wanted to do initially when I started my YouTube channel was coach, because I was really good at that, right? That was just all I wanted to do. And so from that point, I started writing. From that point, I realized that, people come to me from my videos to help them in certain areas. I decided to do an ebook. I decided to create an ebook, and that really helped a lot more people. So what I'm saying in essence is that you need to go out there and do something for yourself. Another thing this has done for me, aside from just putting myself out there, it has also created an option for me. So if peradventure my corporate job does not work out well, maybe for some reason I'm made redundant, I have an option as to how to get value for myself, how to earn, how to take care of myself, because I've created this platform for myself that I can earn from, right? I've created another opportunity just from the value, just from the potentials that I have already inside of me. So what I'm saying in essence is that you need to have this mindset that you can produce as well. You're not just designed to be a consumer. There are things that God has deposited inside you as a woman that when you unleash it, when you find your voice and you begin to use it, it's going to be beneficial for you as well as the world and everybody around you. Because the more you give value, the more you get value in return. So I want you to have this mindset that I can also produce. I can also be like these people that I admire so much, like these people that are giving value to me. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you give the kind of value that you see people give. It depends on the gift and your unique assets and, those things that you have inside of you. So you need to, really sit down and look at ways that you can also produce. And if you're someone that you don't necessarily want to create something for yourself, maybe create content, design a product, maybe you're someone that you like to work in a company, like you want to be a corporate girly, you want to be a corporate woman, you also need to think of ways that you can produce value to your company. Sometimes I see people keep their own ideas to themselves just because, when I start my own company, I'll use this idea. It starts, you can never run out of ideas. The more you share, the more you get, right? So if you start to share in that company that you're in, you start to produce value that, can be in your CV, that can help you when it's time for you to venture into your own things. You're already in the habit of creating and sharing your ideas. So I think it's very good that, you have this mindset that I am a producer as well as you consume, because we will definitely consume. You cannot produce everything that you need to survive. You definitely consume from others as well. But I need you to have the mindset that I am a producer as well. I've got something to bring to the table. The second mindset shift that you need to have is you need to be driven. You need to have drive. Like, you need to be fired up in your mind and in your heart and in your spirit. You need to stay fired up, right? You need to have drive. And I'm saying this because I remember there was a time in my life, for the longest part, I remember myself being a girl of big dreams. I cannot remember myself having small dreams. I used to dream bigger than my capacity. That I had. I remember I wanted to be Miss World, and that was when I was very young, very, very young. I would go when I go along with my parents, maybe to the market to buy things, to shop for school, I would pick sandals that had Miss World on it. I would do things that will, I would just wanted to be out there for some reason. I don't know why, but I always had big dreams. I was always the girl that would write 5-year plan. I just wanted to have something going on in my mind. Like, I just love to be mentally and intellectually stimulated in that capacity. But one thing I didn't have then was drive. I was very laid back with my dreams. I would dream and dream and dream, write things down, but I did not have the kind of drive to back it up. You need to have that drive. It's easy to dream big. You can sit and hallucinate. No, not the word hallucinate, but you can sit and dream as much as you can, but you need to be driven enough to see those dreams come alive. That's something I didn't have. But I then, eventually, like I said, when I started to, go into that journey of self-discovery and wanting to be the light of the world, I knew that I needed to have drive. Immediately, I knew I wanted to start a YouTube channel. Immediately, I knew I wanted to, create a product. Immediately, I would just go for it immediately. Of course, I'm a planner. I would think heavily about it. But then the moment I say it to my husband, and that's something as well, when you need to have people that, can hold you accountable. The moment I say it to my husband, the moment I say it to my friends, they're like, yes, go for it. And because I don't want to let them down, I would actually go for it. So it started to increase my drive. Another thing is my husband is very driven. He is so driven, right? I don't know if he's a big dreamer, but I know he's so driven, and that started to rub off on me. So I started to, go for whatever it is that I think that I can do. So you need to have this mindset of being driven. Yes, sometimes in life, there's some phases of life that you need to chill. Like, for example, when I started to have kids, at some point I was a bit laid back. Like, since I moved to the UK, I was trying to settle and all of that. I've not been really consistent as I was in China. If you've been following me for a while, you'd notice that there was a bit of a lapse in, my consistency, but I'm back up now. But what I'm trying to say in essence is that there are some times in your life that you would need to chill and just, rest on your dreams for a while, but you need to stay fired up. And that's the mindset that I want you to have, that as much as I have these dreams, I want to be driven enough to see those dreams come alive. Another thing I would say is to be very intentional about gaining exposure, okay? And this is another way of me saying you need to be very intentional about learning. You need to be intellectually alert. You don't need to, nobody needs to be intellectually lazy. You don't need your mind to be sleepy. You don't need your mind to be on the shallow end. You need to go deeper. One of the miracles or the stories I love in the Bible is the story of Peter when he was going to fish and they caught nothing all night. And, Jesus told them to launch into the deep, right? I don't know how deep they launched initially, but, when he told them to go into the deep, for me, that always reminds me that there is something more to learn. There is something more to do. And because I'm very intentional about learning, I always get more information. I get new information. I'm exposed to a wider range of things. I'm a reader. I love to read books. I love to listen to podcasts. I love to learn from my experiences and from other people's experiences. One question I always ask myself from time to time when I hear gist of people, when I listen to stories about other people, when I watch videos, when I see vlogs, when I see the news, watch reality shows, one question I always ask myself is, what would I do if I were in this person's shoes? Like, if this was me, what would I do in this situation? Because I love to reflect. I don't want to be in a position where I'm hopeless, like I don't know what to do. I want to be in a place where when I'm in a fix, when I'm confused, I need ideas gushing in through my head, right? Even if you are a believer, it doesn't mean that you should be intellectually lazy. No. In fact, one of the things, again, I love about the Bible is Christ came so that he would improve. There's a version of the Bible that says Christ came so that he would elevate our way of thinking. It would improve the quality of your mind, the way your mind operates, right? And that's the mindset shift I want you to have, that learners are leaders, right? Learners are capable of doing, they improve in their capacity to do great things, to do extraordinary things. Learners are people that constantly increase their value. And that's how you do extraordinary things. When you have so much value, you are driven, you would want to do extraordinary things. And that's where you can improve the quality of your life. So please be exposed beyond your environment, especially if you live in an underdeveloped economy, if you live in countries where, there's a lot of limitation. You need to see beyond your environment. You need to spend that resource to get the extra data that you need to learn, okay? Buy those books. subscribe to Audible, subscribe to audiobooks. Like, be very intentional about gaining that exposure. It will help you. Trust me, you don't lose anything when you learn. Okay, be a learner. If you've enjoyed this video so far, please, I need you to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And so far, let me know what you think concerning all these mindset shifts that I've said, my experiences that I've shared. Let me know if you can relate. If you're enjoying this video so far, just leave me a comment, okay? And also, my baby is currently sleeping and I'm just trying to move him around just so that he stays asleep and I'm able to record this video to the end. So yeah, thank you so much for understanding. So the next mindset shift that I will talk about is to move from being a worrier or a complainer to someone who is very present and grateful. Now, I know that we talk a lot about being grateful. We talk a lot about gratitude. Gratitude is good. You appreciate what you have. But much more than that, being grateful helps you to be present enough to appreciate what you have and also gives you room to see how best you can utilize your resources. Chaos only brings more confusion. So when you are worrying, when you're complaining, you'd realize that because you're focusing so much on that thing that you don't have, you're not able to see the opportunities that are available. Opportunities are endless and they are always around us. But if you're worrying, if you're complaining, if you're not present and grateful for what you have, you would not see those things because you're in a different zone. You're in a different atmosphere. But because you are grateful and present, you're not where you want to be. You're not in a state that you enjoy, but you know that there's something more for you. You're grateful for where you are. Because of that, there's this calm, there's this peace that you have that helps you to see the opportunities that are around you. So I just want to encourage you to focus more on solutions rather than staying sad, because sometimes being sad or worrying or complaining just makes us comfortable, right? It makes us feel safe for some reason. I don't know. But I remember that I've also experienced this myself. I've also been in these shoes. It's not just something that I'm saying. I remember there was a time in my life when I was job hunting, and I refer to this a lot because that phase of my life was really, really it was not great for me. Let me just put it that way. And later on, when I was reflecting on that period, I realized that there was a lot of opportunities around me at the time. But because I was just focused on getting a job, I didn't think of other things that I could do that could fetch me the resources that I was looking for, that would fetch me the outcome that I was looking for. I was just so focused on looking for a job. In fact, I wasn't smart with my time. Yes, I was looking for a job. I haven't gotten the job. I'll just whine and moan and sleep around all day. When I'm tired, I'll find comfort in movies, right? I wasn't really solution minded. I was just looking for a job and that was it. But if I was present and, really focusing on solution at the time, I would have spent my time wisely. Even if I don't maybe get a job at the time as well, I would have learned certain things that would even help me. I would have learned how to better communicate what I wanted, right? I could go on and on and on about that phase, but what I'm trying to say in essence is be present in every phase of your life, even when things are not going great. Be present and grateful so that you will be in that space, that you will see the opportunities that are hidden all around you. Another mindset shift that I want you to have is to never be afraid of making a U-turn, okay? Never be afraid of making a U-turn in life, especially when you realize that you are in the wrong direction. Don't be afraid to take a U-turn. And I think this is something that affects a lot of women a lot of times. When we realize that we are making a mistake or we are going on the wrong path, we tend to we are very hopeful. We tend to stick around. You are in toxic relationships. You are in the midst of unhealthy, you are in the midst of friends that are very unhealthy, that don't align with your values, but you continue to stick it out just for some reason. Maybe because we are emotional, we are nurturers, I don't know. But I know this is very common for women. When you notice that this thing that you're doing, you're on the wrong path, do not be afraid to make a U-turn. Now I'm going to use an analogy of when you're driving. You're trying to get to your destination. You're driving. Sometimes you get help by using the map. The map, you put your destination, the map will give you the best route for you to go through. Now, when you miss a turn, Maybe you went too slow or you went too fast. You just missed the turn for some reason. The map is going to reroute, give you a different route so that you can get to where you're supposed to be and continue to your destination. But if you decide that, no, I'm not going to take a U-turn, I'm going to keep pursuing this route, you might have an accident, or you might cause another person to have an accident, or you might, get to the wrong place. And the most important one is you would have wasted your time, because eventually you would need to go back to where you need to go to the lane that you need to be, because you need to get to your destination. Except you give up on going to that destination, except you change your mind and you want to go to a different destination, you might need to go back to what the map is telling you to do. Because there's so many times the map will keep giving you different routes. You keep, forming strong head, you don't want to go. It will keep giving you different routes until it's exhausted all the routes that is available. And if you still say you don't want to go through that route, it will eventually give up on you. And, you're not going to get to where you want to be. That's the way it is when you make a mistake in life, or you are going on the wrong path and you realize it. If you keep going through because you don't want to take a U-turn, because you don't want to go, or you want to save yourself time, or for whatever excuse that you're giving yourself, if you refuse to make that U-turn, you are going to cause more harm than the harm that is already existing, than the harm that you see or you're currently on. Right? I hope that makes sense what I said. But the point is, do not be afraid to take a U-turn. If the path you're treading on, if the career you're pursuing does not align with your gifts, does not align, because work is good. Work is good. Having a career is good. God wants us to work. God wants us to be, partners with him. He wants us to work, right? But he has given us gifts and abilities that will help us work better. So sometimes you're on a career path that does not align with your gifts, and it becomes so stressful. At some point, when you feel comfortable enough, when you've saved enough, when you know that you've gotten enough cushion for you to take the next step for yourself, please don't be afraid. Never be afraid to start afresh. Never be afraid to take a U-turn. Never be afraid to leave that uncomfortable position. And finally, the last mindset shift that I want you to adopt is to set high standard. Don't have this mindset of average, okay? Set high standards for yourself. I have a video where I talked about setting effective personal standard for yourself. I have a video on boundaries. I'll link them somewhere in the cards, okay? I have a video on that, and it is very detailed and very, very good. Sometimes I even go back to watch it. But it's very important to set high standards for yourself. You need to love yourself and respect yourself enough to set good standards, high standards for yourself that you hold yourself accountable to. You need to love yourself enough to know and live out things that will make you a high value woman. Again, this is something that I learned from the Proverbs 31 woman, okay? The lady that wrote the Proverbs 31 woman, she was describing the kind of woman that is fitting for a king. At the time, a king is the most desirable position. That's the person that has the most value, because they are in control of things. They are just very respected and all that, right? And the woman is describing the kind of woman that is fitting for someone in that, position. She's describing a high value woman fitting for that king. That kind of woman that is described in Proverbs 31 has high standards, because it's even said that her husband is respected because of her. A king is respected because of his queen, So it's very important to have high standards for yourself. I don't want you to have this mindset of average. Change it. Whatever is average in your life, change it. I know I think big, like I said already. Whenever I'm going out to buy things, or whenever I'm going to get things for myself, except things that I just want to use around the house, but something that I want for myself, I always try to go for the most expensive. Sometimes it's not always the most valuable, but I always like to go for the one that I know is of high quality, because I'd rather have a few quality things than have a lot of garbage, right? Except I just want something that I just, wear in and out, that I'm not really bothered about the quality. But always, my mind always goes for the best. I don't know why, but I always go for the best. I always want the best. If they say Like right now, I'm already thinking of the best universities that my children will go to. Not necessarily because I want to force them, but I'm raising them in a way that I want them to have capacity for the best. And if I don't have that mindset, I'll be okay with average. I'll be okay with whatever they do. I'll be okay with whatever comes. So I want you to have that mindset that you are an extraordinary person that is going to do extraordinary things, or if it makes you comfortable, an ordinary person that is going to do and will do extraordinary things. And it starts by having this abundance mindset. So that is all I have for you in today's video. I hope you really enjoyed this video, and I hope you found it so valuable. And if you did, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel to get to a lot more people that will find value in this kind of content. And if you're yet to subscribe to the channel, please don't forget to click on the subscribe button and the bell notification so you stay up to date on my videos. Okay, share my videos with your friends and loved ones. Don't enjoy this alone. And if there's anything that you need help with, if there's any topic that you want me to share my thoughts on, if there's anything that you want to learn from me, please drop it in the comment section or send me a DM on Instagram. I have 2 Instagram pages. On Her Fresh Start, that is my business page, and Yemi_Ayodeji, that's my personal Instagram page. You can send me a DM on that or leave the comments if that is more convenient for you. Okay, thank you for always coming back for more videos. You guys are amazing and I love you all, and I'll see you in my next video.